Do you know that London suffered a fire that destroyed 80,000 homes in this city? Hello, welcome to Do You Know? Today I will talk to you about the famous fire in the city of London in the year 1666. Currently, London is the capital city of England, and together with New York they are the largest financial centers in the world. In addition to being a popular icon historically, it has also suffered fatal incidents throughout history. From Nazi German bombings to terrorist attacks in the new millennium, the people of London have not gotten used to suffering in all kinds of incidents. One of these incidents has occurred in the 17th century, precisely in the year 1666. The capital city back then was very different from today. It had 500,000 inhabitants, quite a few people for that time, but years before it had suffered the Great Plague of Winter, which had greatly reduced its population. Despite the decrease in its population, London was not an example of organization in its demographic and urban growth, as a result of which the houses built in recent decades were made of wood and straw, materials that cost the lives of many citizens in the future. It all started on Sunday, September 2nd at Thomas Farriner's bakery in Pudding Lane. The family was trapped upstairs, but modified climbing from an upstairs window to the house next door, except for one maid who was too scared to try, who became the first victim. With the spread of the fire in the surrounding neighborhoods, the news reached Mayor Thomas Bloodworth. By the time he arrived, flames were consuming neighboring homes and creeping toward paper bins and flammable stores on the riverbank. Experienced firefighters clamored for demolition, but Bloodworth refused on the grounds that most of the premises were rented, and owners could not be found. With the fire in the city, many people tried to flee from the wall that surrounded the center of the city. When the flames reached the coast, the only way to escape was through the 8 gates that made up the wall. The only way to contain the fire was the demolition of the buildings, so that the fires did not spread. This happened but to a lesser extent since it was late when the mayor gave the order to stop the disaster. The work of the firefighters was also frustrated because, according to Pepys' writings, this never happened, since, instead of using buckets of water as was normal in his work, Pepys saw how the firefighters fled from the fire. Officially, the authorities gave the figure of 8 deaths in the incident, but with the information and evidence found today, it is believed that different bodies could be consumed by the heat until they turn to ashes or reach a skeletal state. Also, another reason for the low number of victims was that the deaths of the middle and lower classes were not documented. Days after the end of the disaster, disorders began to occur in the streets, due to rumors that foreigners had started the fires. Suspicion centered on French and Dutch immigrants, England's enemies from the ongoing Second Anglo-Dutch War. These groups were victims of street violence. Material destruction has been estimated at 13,500 houses, 87 parish churches, 44 guild halls, the Royal Exchange, the Custom House, St. Paul's Cathedral, Bridewell Palace and other city prisons, the General Office postcard, and the 3 western city gates: Ludgate, Newgate and Aldersgate. The monetary value of the losses, estimated to be between 10,000 and 100,000 coins used at the time, was equivalent to £1.7 billion today. It is also believed that thanks to the fire, houses that were a breeding ground for diseases due to their poor conditions, rats and waste, were incinerated. All this would generate that for several years the city of London was not attacked by the deadly diseases that were found throughout Europe. This was the fire of London in 1666. If you like the video, please give it a like, subscribe and comment on the video you would like me to make about a historical event. Thanks. Bye.